Well, Toys R Us is back in the Chicago area in a big way.
A new 13,000 square foot flagship store opened at Chicago Premium Outlets in Aurora. Families came out for giveaways, face painting, and a visit from Jeffrey the Giraffe. The store features top toy brands, a Babies R Us section, and an arcade just in time for the holidays.
Well, there's not much to intro here. This is great news. Look, everybody, me included, that gripes about the death of the shopping experience and online killing retail. Here's your chance. Take a new generation to an actual toy store and watch them light up. We're losing some of the magic, and here's a chance to bring it back. We're going to talk about it with Mark Boucher right now. Mark Boucher, welcome in.
Hello, Scott.
Man, it is Christmas season. There seems to be one news story that is demanding its own episode. It is the return of that Cathedral of Childhood Toys R Us.
Yeah, when you told me we were going to do this as a topic, I had to go Google it because I didn't believe you. Yeah, no way. Who's bringing brick and mortar stores are dying every day. Who would do this?
There are very few I don't think Sears could pull it off. I don't think there's a lot of department stores that could, but there is a magic to this place that's going to be hard to squelch.
Well, I think I've been thinking about it, since you told me we were going to do this episode. And I think here's the thing. Retail is going away, but nostalgia is just raging right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think people are going to walk through the doors, especially if they can somehow pull off a way to make it feel the same when you walk through the front doors. And I think if they can't nail that, it's not going to work.
Boy, that's the thing. You went into the local one where I was raised, and it took you in the maze. Like it was floor to ceiling, like a corridor of toys, and it turned you into the store, and there was like no going back. It was beautifully planned out. And remember the lighting in those places? It was like police interrogation.
It was very bright.
Yes.
I remember that.
Which is smart because toy companies are brightly colored. Their packaging and the toys themselves, and it's a great idea.
No, they knew what they were doing with that for sure. And the layout of the store as well. Very, very well thought out.
Right. So when you would go in, first of all, I mention this all the time. I grew up in Moore, Oklahoma. The Southside Oklahoma City Toys R Us backed up to the red light district of Oklahoma City. So behind the Toys R Us were strip clubs. So you could go in and, walk in for a G.I. Joe and come out, and there's a lady named Diamond smoking behind the dumpsters.
So you go in there and you buy your little Merlin electronic game, right?
Yes.
And she's giving you your change, and you're like, could I have that in ones?
I get tokens. If you want to see two different kinds of toys in the same square mile, South Oklahoma City had you covered.
Yeah. Sounds, that's good planning.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can call it that. So when you would go in the place, and I understand that every toy or every Toys R Us store was the same concept, the same big cube that you walked in. And that, with these stores coming back, what's going to happen to Spirit Halloween?
Nothing. Spirit Halloween's got the model that they have, and it's brilliant. So that's not going to go anywhere.
They're like cockroaches. They're just going to move over to the old Montgomery Ward stores, I guess.
Yeah. But what are they doing? I know that there have been some Toys R Us's, like in some department stores, like kind of like there's Pizza Huts inside.
No, yeah, Target has them.
Yeah, that kind of thing, like a shop in a shop.
Right.
And they've had a few of those. I don't know how well those have worked.
Well, I've got a list here. Let's pull it up. Okay, boy, it looks like they're spread out. Aurora, Illinois, California, Iowa, Maryland, Nebraska, Colorado, Wichita. So these are actual newly opened or announced for next quarter. The flagship big cube stores again. They say they're going to have 10 new flagship stores and 20 holiday shops. I don't know what that means, but they're
probably
have
spirit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And so it was bought. We did the show about Radio Shack's return, and it was essentially a clearinghouse, a company like Blackstone. What are they called? Anyway, an investment group that brought them back, bought the name and brought them back. From what I understand, this has some of the original brain power behind it. It's going to really point to the old store, and it's going to try to bring back that magic that we remembered as being 80s kids.
Man, I need that. I need that in my life. I do. If there was one around here, if there was one within 2 hours of here, I think I would road trip it and go and just walk around and smell the place.
Yeah, I get it. You're going to get, they call it a curated vibe, which makes me want to throw up a little bit. So it's not going to be the exact copy, but how many Rubik's Cubes would sell today? So it's not going to be exactly the same, but everything is going to point back to that. Norman.
I wonder if they're going to bring back old toys to sell.
Boy, that
would be kind of cool. I think there'd be a market for that, playing off the nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Like Simon Says, the Simon game, for example.
Yeah. How many people our age would be buying toys for nieces and nephews that are like, this kind of sucks?
No, we'd be buying them for us.
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll, hand a kid now a Slinky. Thanks. Sucks.
Have you looked at the prices of some of the vintage games that are like in really good shape?
Yes.
Do you remember it was a board game, but it had an electronic element to it? It was called, was it Dark Tower?
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember Dark Tower?
Yeah.
Me and my brother used to really be into that game. And my brother sent me something recently of a pristine condition Dark Tower with all of the pieces and everything. And it was selling for like $2,700 on eBay. And that was the current bid. Yeah. Because there's probably like 7 of them left in the world that are playable.
Oh, man. Yeah,
but that kind of thing.
So what's your best memory of being inside that place, the original Toys R Us?
I remember just walking in with my parents. They never just dropped me off there and came back later. They weren't those parents, but I remember walking in, and I remember the layout because you walk in and you go through a corral kind of past the checkout. And it's kind of like like you go to a zoo and the only way out is through the gift shop.
Right.
So, and then you're in the store. And I remember like the first you'd go through like all the baby stuff. I think it was arranged by age. So you go through like the baby playpens and the strollers, and I was, I don't know, 9 or 10 or 11. And, I would just hold my breath walking through that icky part of the store. And I would go straight to the video game aisle. And they had the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision and the Coleco. And, they were set up there so you could play them.
Right.
And, all the, I've spent hours just standing there playing video games.
Man, I wanted to be one of those video game dudes. I never was. I agree with you, man. I went right past the baby dolls and just kept looking at my feet.
To their credit, they had a huge selection of that stuff for the, all the playpens and all of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
right. Because a 10-year-old Scott didn't realize that 10-year-old girls would probably want to play some toys too and weren't all excited about the football helmets like me.
One thing I remember actually buying, do you remember Merlin? I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
It was a red handheld game with like 9 little round buttons on the front of it.
Yes.
And it was like math games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that. I never had it.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I remember buying that at Toys R Us, or my parents buying it for me at Toys R Us. That thing got a lot of traction with me. I loved that game.
Man, my mom, mom tried so hard. I remember I wanted a police car. I was in there and they had a police car that you could smash the side of it and the doors would open and the hood opened and it was just so cool. And I explained to her how I needed this because
this whole episode is going to turn into you and I remembering toys.
I know. So the only reason we'd ever go in there is if some kid we knew had a birthday party or something. Your parents, no forward-thinking parent would ever bring their kid to a Toys R Us if they didn't have to.
No.
And so, yeah. So I was in there with her and I explained to her why I needed this little die-cast car. Well, I needed it and it didn't happen. I was aggravated. And so she came home one day about 2 weeks later, and there was I had a nickname as a kid that I won't mention it here. And she said, "Guess what I got?" And I was like, "I don't know. Do I have to take a shot? I don't know." And she said, "Well, I was in that store again, and I got to the police car, and you can't be serious." And so I run to the kitchen, and it's a police van. It's a paddy wagon.
Yeah, it was the wrong one.
I'm like, oh, it was just so stupid. And I looked at it, and Mom was so proud of herself because she went back and got the police car. And I thanked her. "Oh, thanks, Mom. Yeah, man." So I took it out back, and I remember the first thing I did was scrub the paint off the top of it on the concrete so it could be silver instead of a stupid cop car. And I just rode it around. I hated it, but it became like a
you had to play with it.
Yeah, it became like a free candy van with no windows and no paint. So it has its own charm, I guess.
And you set up like a little model playground in your front yard, like at 1/10 scale. Where you'd like drive it around.
I sold bootleg concert shirts out of it. Yeah, that's kind of what it turned into.
Well, I mean, you make do with what you have.
Right. So these stores, it looks like you're right. They had them in Macy's. I think FAO Schwartz tried that like earlier in the 2000s.
I think I've seen one at an airport as well, although I may be misremembering. Yeah.
So parents went into that survival mode when they were there. It was like, we're not buying anything. Okay. And then there's like 300 aisles in that thing, and you had to go back and forth. The weirdest thing I ever encountered in that place is my junior league football team had Dallas Cowboy replica jerseys and helmets. We had the star on the helmet, silver pants, everything. It was junior league football. And I played for a school called Winding Creek, and the motif was the Dallas Cowboys. And there was a team called Central that were very good, and I think they were the Patriots. And then the Wick babies went to Kelly, and they had green jerseys. But anyway, we were decked out in Dallas gear, and the parents paid for the uniforms. I'm in Toys R Us one day, and I'm walking down where all the footballs are, the baseball gloves, and I see these uniforms for sale. And they have straight up Dallas Cowboy uniforms there. And I realized they bought our uniforms at a toy store.
Well,
it was straight. It had the exact, because a little bit modified from the years we had before, where we had jerseys that looked like it. These were straight up Cowboys jerseys, and we weren't the Cowboys. Our mascot was the Wildcats, but we had the Cowboys uniforms, and I found out they came from Toys R Us, and it was devastating to know we were out there in toy store uniforms.
Yeah, you were wearing toys as a uniform.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I bet you guys looked pretty awesome. I mean, that's a great uniform.
Yeah,
I mean, for sure.
But, we weren't Bike or Rydell. We were made by the Giraffe. Man, I would go to a Toys R Us store right now. It's the Christmas season. Thank you so much for listening this year and for all the comments we've had. It's overwhelming. We're going to go over those in a couple of weeks and kind of have a year-end special where we hit the highlights. As always, if you enjoy the podcast, send it to someone that you think would as well. There is so much nonsense out there, and this is the time of year where we can truly put that away and just enjoy each other's company. Lord knows I create a lot of that crap myself. So let's enjoy the season and get back to it.
So I'm still kind of kicking around in the back of my mind, what different toys do I remember getting there? And it just occurred to me, a toy that was big back then and is still big now, and it hasn't changed at all. Can you think of what I'm thinking of?
A toy that was big back then.
It was huge back then.
We sound like
still sold now.
We sound like Carson and Ed McMahon. Big back then, still sold now. No, what are you thinking of?
Legos.
Oh, yeah. I think they're bigger now.
Yeah, yeah. But they're the same damn Legos they were in the 80s.
Yeah, kids still play with them, and nerds with disposable income are still buying them and building spaceships and stuff.
And just loving it up. So I bet there's going to be Lego presents at these new Toys R Us stores.
So do you remember the ticket system that they had? Where if you got like a high dollar, a big item, you handed them a ticket behind this window.
Oh, yeah. So like the video games were like locked behind some plexiglass.
Yeah, and then they would go get it.
Yeah. It was basically like a video game deli.
Yeah.
I'll take Night Driver and a pound of pastrami.
They'd pull the slip, and you go to the glass booth to negotiate, and there's like this back room mystery. It felt like you're, pulling a ticket, like cashing out a 401k. You hand it to the teenager. It felt like a negotiation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was smart. You can't just leave video game consoles sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, I guess. Well, certainly not when you're built over there by the strip clubs.
Right.
I remember this is something I never had. I had one that was kind of crummy. I think it was a Radio Shack RC car, but the RC car aisle was just the greatest. Kids over there just bumping them into each other and banging into ankles. I always wanted one. That's
another reason why this might work. Because toys are unique next to other products in that you can't just take a kid and go on Amazon and point to an image on the screen and go, do you think you might want one of those?
That's true. That's a good point.
But you could take your kid to Toys R Us and they can sacrifice one unit to get destroyed by kids in a week out on the floor to sell 300 of them.
Right. Remember the kid that was always opening boxes?
Yeah.
There's always one.
I knew that kid.
Yeah. Oh, real well.
No, it wasn't me. But I'm thinking of the kid right now in my head. I could.
Yeah. There's the musical instrument aisle, which I always loved. I'd go play the guitars, and then they're always all those keyboards were always stuck in demo mode, and it was all they were all playing. That was terrible.
Yeah, and the keyboards were terrible. They weren't good keyboards.
It was a toy store. It's like it was like their Little League football uniforms. They would crack. If you don't hit these. Don't hit these against anything, because
remember that. Yeah, the quality of the plastic that they were made out of. It was like you could flick it with your finger and it would crack.
Yeah, but I guess that's part of the charm, maybe.
But yeah, I guess.
Oh well. So some of these stores, they're not. All the flagships are going to be the same from what I can tell. But they say there's an experimental design with smaller, they say curated stores. There's a brand licensing model, which I don't know how that would work unless it's going, you can buy a Toys R Us branded toy in Walmart, which kind of defeats the purpose, I guess.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
But I just hope they have, the demo chaos, like you mentioned, those oversized aisles, that smell that's kind of plastic. The Toys R Us smell.
Yeah, that's part of what they need to nail. They need to nail that. You need to be able to walk in now as a 50-year-old, walk in and go,
yes.
Oh, that's the oh
yeah, man. That's exactly right. Now, I don't know if people just older than us, my brother's 10 years older, I don't know if he has that same nostalgia. I remember being a kid and doing yard work with my dad, and we were out, and I remember just busting tail that day, and we were eating ice cream, and we went by Toys R Us. I said, what is going on here? And he said I could pick out whatever I wanted. And so I was smart enough to know that if I come out of there with a go-kart, I'm never going to see the inside of that store again. So at 8 years old, I was smart enough to know, hey, tamper it down a little bit here. Don't go nuts. So you'll be in here again one day.
Right.
I don't remember what I bought, some swamp monster or something, but I swear that was the first time I'd ever been in one of those. I didn't know such a place existed, and it seemed almost hallowed. Like we only go there if somebody dies or something. This is too great a place to actually exist.
I just remembered another toy that I got from Toys R Us. The Bionic Man action figure.
Oh, my buddy down the street had one of those.
And it came like with a rocket that you could put him in. And
you could see through the back of his hand. You could see through the
he had like a little
eye.
telescope built into his head.
Yes.
And he had that red tracksuit on.
Yeah.
He was wearing a red tracksuit.
Yeah, because it's $6 million man.
Yeah.
It's Steve Austin. And he was running home. He was running home to his wife, Farrah Fawcett. Of course he had the tracksuit on.
Right.
Lee Majors had it pretty good.
Lee Majors. Is he still around?
I don't know, but
man, you remember the theme song to The Fall Guy?
Yeah, it mentions Farrah.
It does. Yeah, and he wrote that and sang it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's when you watch the show, he's the one singing the song, and he wrote the song.
Huh. Well, they had Santa Claus that would show up at the one at Oklahoma City.
Yep.
The one by the strip club. He smelled a little like alcohol and
his
crumpled
of
$5
cigarette
bills.
smoke. Yeah.
Hey, Santa, why is there glitter in your beard? Oh. Okay. So he would show up and we would go. They had the guy ringing the bell outside, and it would get cold. Oklahoma's far enough south to where it doesn't have your New England stories, but it was always a cold snap in December. We would go, and the lights would just kind of beckon you. There's always those gray days in Oklahoma on the prairie. And the lights of that place, it just looked like Mecca. It was just glorious. And I remember going at Christmas, and it was exciting. And your mom and dad's so busy that both of my parents worked. And so if I ever went to Toys R Us, then they were probably buying Christmas gifts. So I would go make myself busy anyway, and Dad would disappear. I'm sure he was stashing stuff in the car. And it was just the best. If it comes back and if it's successful, they have got to capture that somehow.
They do. They need to really capitalize on the nostalgia part of this. It can't be Toys R Us coming back in name only, and it's a whole new thing. It needs to be the old thing all over again.
Yeah, that's the truth. And again, a lot of that's going to depend on the buy-in from its intended audience. And if, they say that movies are boring now and formulaic, and they kind of are. It seems like toys are. Like there's a real reliance on social media. God, 8-year-olds are playing with smartphones now. I don't know if they're going to be lured into a toy store the way we were.
Yeah, I'm so out of touch because, I'm 55 and my kids are in their 30s, and I have no idea what toys are these days. I have no idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Well, I don't watch a lot of Saturday morning cartoons, so I don't see a lot of the commercials.
Yeah.
But as long as they've got stuff to get like boys dirty out in the, playing with trucks, and girls are doing whatever girls do. I don't know. All right. So we get Toys R Us again. It's official. They're back. And they need to bring the jingle back. I saw Jeffrey smiling at the crowd at the Macy's Thanksgiving parade.
Yeah, I saw him too. I didn't make the connection when I saw that was basically a publicity stunt for the store coming back. Had no idea.
He was well, it makes sense. I mean, they don't have what's an old store? I don't have a joke for this. They don't have any other defunct characters up there waving. Jeffrey, I think, was up there at a DJ booth spinning records and killing it. So
I wonder if they're obviously going to run TV ads when they reopen. Is the old theme song going to come back as it was, or are they going to hip hop it up God, I hope they don't.
They've got to have the original song. Look, man, the people that are driving their Teslas to that parking lot that used to be in the back seat of a station wagon are going to come if that song plays. Like, they can't mix it up. You're not advertising to the kids. You're advertising to, if you're trying to capture nostalgia, if you're trying to capture that magic that was, the mid 80s, early 80s Christmas.
You got to advertise to the parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so here's hoping, man. At least until Spirit Halloween needs them in October.
Yeah.
All right. These are the Christmas episodes before the big holiday. And if we didn't include Toys R Us, we don't even need to be in this business. So
Merry
Christmas coming up. Yep. Merry Christmas coming up, everybody. So many bowl games coming up. It's the best time of year. Mark, thanks for sitting in, bud.
I love it, Scott.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys and Toys R Us that I can play with. Jeffrey, she wants everything.
Well, everything's at Toys R Us. Like Golden Books Rainbow Bright Storybooks, only $4.97 each. Toys R Us has a whole library of them. Only $9.97 for Ertl's radio-controlled 18 van.
Wow!
And only $10.97 for Uno Wild Tile from International Games.
More games, more toys. Oh, boy! I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
All right. If you could, let's say you're designing your own rest home.
Okay.
Which one aisle from Toys R Us do you have at that place?
I'm designing my own rest home.
Yes.
Like an old folks home, right?
Yes. And one of the aisles at your retirement village is a replica Toys R Us aisle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you have bikes? Ooh, the train sets would be cool if I'm an old guy.
I'm going to go with the doll aisle because, by the time I get to be 90 or 100 years old, I'm probably going to be a woman.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, I don't know how you do this on we could do Sunday school memories.
I wish people listening to the podcast could see your face.